Hi, I'm Gary Jenkins, and it's nice to see you all again. Today, we're going to paint some peonies with some daisies and some leaves. The peony almost looks like a rose, except it has more petals, a little more going on inside. We're also going to have some wonderful daisies coming around and some long tapered leaves, and we'll be talking about the accent colors in the background. Also, on one of our trips, we went to a flower auction just outside of Amsterdam. Here we are arriving at the flower auction in Aalsmeer, just outside of Amsterdam. It is the largest flower auction in the world. There were acres and acres of fresh flowers in carts, all waiting to be auctioned off. This place is huge. It's the size of many, many football fields. Right after the auction, the flowers are rushed off to waiting airplanes to be shipped to all parts of the world. It was established in 1928, and more than 7 billion cut flowers are shipped. Catherine is taking pictures of the flowers in carts. I had no idea a place like this existed. Most of the carts are automated, so you must be careful. Walking on the floor, you might get run over. Many of the workers ride bikes. There's Catherine taking some more pictures. There are so many different beautiful flowers that you want to get your paints out and start painting. There they are, driving more of the carts around on the floor. It's a great place to work because you get so much exercise out there. Look at all the flowers. Geez, acres and acres and acres. Here they are auctioning off the flowers, which run along a track like a train. The buyers then bid on the flowers. Everything is automated, so all the buyer needs to do is push a button to purchase. Boy, I can't wait to get back there and really take a look at that place and take more pictures. Let's take a look at the canvas that we have up here, and we'll talk about this. Look at that. I think that's just beautiful like it is. This is acrylic. And back here we have some really rich dark mauves coming over to some light mauve, which has been mixed with white. Then we have some more of that kind of pale mauve color mixed, and then we hit on top of it with some white, which has a little touch of yellow and orange. And we got a nice accent of oranges and yellows and cad red lights to give it a good punch. Woo! Get that imagination fired up and ready to go. I also have on the canvas some linseed, which I take a paper towel and just put it on there, but don't put it on too thick, guys, or it'll make your paint brown. First of all, let's come down to the palette, and we will take a little light color. We'll take a little petal pink. Now, these brushes are all synthetic. I'm using good old oil paint. And I'm going to come up here and establish very loosely, not very tight. We're going to establish where our big peony is. Remember, we don't want to stack one on top of the other. So we have another peony here, just very loose, just so we don't get a bunch of that dark green in where our flowers are going to go. Now, we might dip. Oh, I have medium. You don't see me, but I'll be dipping into medium. Helps the paint run along. Odorless paint thinner in a tub over here. And let's take some of our green, foliage green dark. And maybe let's take some mauve. This is royal mauve. Whew. And we're going to take, oh boy, look at that. Now might run some stems. Look at that, how we run a stem across that nice bright color and how it sets the bright color back behind everything. Now coming up here, watch this. Well, let's just block this in a little more. Up in here, we're going to come in and throw some leaves in. Ooh, remember, I have that linseed back there, which is helping my paint to flow along. I'm going to come back down. Let's pick up a little more of that foliage green dark, a little bit more of that good old mauve. And here we go again. Maybe right in this area where it's really dark, we'll take some foliage green light. And let's see what that does. Oh, yeah. It really makes that show up nicely. Let's take a look at this stroke. My brush is straight with a chisel edge. I come up with a skinny stem, I turn the brush to the side, I run with it and turn it back. And that's all it is. That's all I'm doing, guys. Now, we have a bunch of stuff coming up from the bottom. Lots of long, graceful leaves. We'll take a little more. Let's take some sienna and with our dark green. And we want to start filling this area in with nice, long strokes, making sure we don't fill up our nice, bright area. This is dark. In some of the areas with our dark green, we just kind of brush it in. And we're sort of putting a layer of green paint down here, which is rather dark, so that when we come in with our foliage green line, you see it shows up against the dark and also leaves a nice kind of wet place for us to play around with our leaves. You could take and bring this up on the lip of your easel so that my brush starts off and then flat and turn. So it looks like the leaves continue on past. Here's a more of that foliage green light. And let's start showing some stems. Now notice the stems are a little bit lighter. So it breaks up all that dark area that we have down there. And also we'll take some of that foliage green light. And we're going to have a daisy that's going to sit right there. We might have another daisy that's there, and another one's cutting across our beautiful light back there. And notice how I twist the brush, because it makes sort of a pedestal for our daisies to sit on. Another one here, and turn. Okay, now, what we're going to do, let's put a few more before I forget, another stem. These brushes come to a nice, beautiful chisel edge. So they're fantastic to work with. Maybe a couple more up in here, just to make sure I have enough filler. Look at that light shining through. Looks like the moon is just coming up back in there. That's kind of cool. Now, let's block our flowers in. I was going to put some daisies in, but let's go for our peonies. We have a baby peony up here, and we have another large one here. What we'll do, we'll take a touch of medium and our deep burgundy, because we work from dark to light. And we're going to block this little peony in here. Some of the petals are foreshortened. And it starts out much like a rose, except it will have more petals. So then we'll take a little bit of our mauve. And let's take some mauve and put it in the middle. This is just kind of darken it up a little bit. Yeah, maybe a little back there. Doink! Looks like a flower already. Haven't even done anything. Whew. Let's take our medium. Deep burgundy. Don't forget I have linseed back here, which is helping my paint flow along. Back here, the petals sort of curve around towards us. So I'll use the side of the brush, kind of a curvy stroke. And in it goes. We don't care what's happening in the middle. All we care about is the outside edge. Let's get a little edge. Woohoo! You could hang your hat on that one. And stroking from the outside, little edge, little thing there, and here. And we'll take our mauve. And our mauve will be that nice dark that we find in the middle. We might find a few darks jumping around. Maybe some back in here. Maybe some there. All right. You know, a painting is never really finished. It simply stops in interesting places. And that interesting place could be any place. So when you're painting and a lot of people say, gee, I don't know when my painting's done. I see in my workshops, I'll walk around and I'll see a person, a student doing a painting, and it looks great. But they sit there and they pick and they pick and they pick, and pretty soon the painting goes down. So there is a time to stop, and the only time you know when to stop is through experience, through doing lots of paintings, taking many paintings beyond the point of being finished, and then you'll know that you don't want to keep painting and painting. There is a time to stop and let your baby go. Okay, let's come on up. But it's hard to let go, I know. Let's spend a few more minutes. I'm going to take my foliage green light and I put a little yellow with it. Because this painting is just as much a leaf painting as it is a flower painting. Leaves are so important. People don't spend enough time on them. We're going to take our foliage green light, yellow. Now let's put a little touch of white. I use titanium white. Come up here, and this is going to put in a lighter value. But now what this does, it adds depth to your painting. Because we went from dark, we went to a middle tone, and now we're coming up to a light. Whew. Boy, I love that bright light in the back. Remember, the back was all acrylic. So it's dry, except for the medium or linseed oil that I put on there. There. Mm-hmm. Look at that come up and overlap the leaves. I have leaves running horizontal, and I'm going to kind of bring up a vertical to cut into that. So it adds another layer on top. Coming across here. Maybe, let's come down to the palette. Let's pick up some, because I see the colors getting a little warmer green. And if we want to warm our green up, we'll put a little sienna with it. We'll come up here, and we just warmed it up just a hair. I'm going to put a little more sienna with it. Get a little more warmth. Let's get, well, that's not doing it. Let's put some burgundy. Let's see if that warms it up. Yeah, there you are. Sometimes when you're painting, what you want to express, it runs away from you. And it says, no, 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 I don't want to do that. Well, you hang in there tough and it'll work. Here's some leaves coming out of here. Watch the flat of the brush. And I turn it. And you could even wiggle a little. Yeah. Flat and turn. Now the pressure, when I'm turning and I'm going to wiggle, this brush, side of the brush is down. This is up. So there's the flat. The back side is down. The front is up. You see? So I can get a thin line back there. Well, here I am telling you what to do, and I got a little snaky with that. No biggie. We'll just cover it up. There we go. Let's get on those peonies before we run out of time and we have no peonies. I think what we'll do is take a filbert brush. Let's take some cad red light, because we already have our dark on there, and we're just going to see what that does. Well, that's okay, but not enough contrast. Let's take some petal pink and see what that does. Yes, that's what we want. So there's a petal up in the air there. There's one up in the air here. And then these are just foreshortened with the side of the brush. Look how simple it is. In it goes, and we don't nag and nag and nag until that flower goes bye-bye. You get in and say what you want to say and get back out. Always fight that feeling to get back in there and mess with it. Let's take our petal pink again. Most people work too hard. Remember, these are peonies, and that means it has more petals. Actually, my wife, Catherine, painted some peonies, which I have on the back wall here. Now that size is a 24 by 36, and it's really a close-up of the peony. That's a Chiclet, which is a print, and has been one of the best sellers. I really, really like that because of all the kind of the abstract quality it has. You could do a lot of stuff with a peony. We have peonies at the house in our garden, and I go outside and I photograph them. Most of the paintings that you see that we're doing are from our own photographs. A lot of times, if you have a computer, we live in the computer age now, I'll take it in, and then I will blow up just the inside of a flower so I can study the detail. Remember, your best teacher will be nature. There's no substitute for painting from the real thing. And that's the truth. You can, there's many painters that are even self-taught. They get the flowers, they bring them in, and they study them. Of course, it might take a little longer. If you can have some really good instruction, it's always better because it saves a lot of time. And if you're as old as I am, you ain't got a lot of time to mess around. So you got to get right to it. Learn as much as you can. Take as many classes as you can from as many qualified teachers. Don't take classes from some amateur that's just barely able to paint. Now, there's a lot of cool instructors out there. Know a lot of technique, and you can really learn a lot. I'm putting a little white with the pink. Look at that. Oh, yes. You see it? Look at all the petals in there. Wonderful. Let's get on those daisies. I'm going to use the same brush. I'm going to take my white, and let's just take white and see what it does way up here. Now, it's going to mix with the green on the back. Yeah. We have many certification classes that we give where we show this technique. So you guys might want to check that out. Here we go again. Now look at that. You see how I brought the light out on one side and just let it fade out on the other? Uh-oh, I see some flowers back here. These little mauve flowers. I didn't even know they were there. We'll take a little white, mix it with the mauve. Royal mauve. I don't know what kind of flower that is, but actually, they're just there for color. Let's get a little more lighter. It's just there for color. Who cares what kind of flower it is? It really doesn't matter. Mauve and white. This is wet on the wet so that it's mixing with the color, but I just want those to sit back there in the shadow. Let's take a little more. White, maybe this has a touch of green, I don't know. Side of the brush, push down and pull up. Push down. Now these are the back petals. I like to put the back petals in first. Now, and then, notice how loose and free. Clean that brush and my odorless thinner. And let's take some white. Let's put a touch of orange with that white. Let's come up here, no medium. And boom. You see there. You see that stroke? This overlaps the back. Kind of makes it look like you could see inside there. Let's take another one. There's another one here, overlapping those little purples. And these just kind of go in loose, loose. The daisies need to go in nice and free and loose. I just wipe the brush and we'll put a little stem right in there. Now, supposing you said, oh, well, I want to show more of the inside. Watch what happens when we take a little orange up here and we place a little half circle. Boo boo. Now look at the difference that makes. And then we'll take a little off-white and we'll come over just a little bit. Look. Sometimes you use the flat. Sometimes, oh, this side. Look, maybe a petal. It just sort of droops down because it's tired. Okay. The daisies, I see so many people painting pinwheels when they come to doing their daisies. Come down to the palette. Let me show you what they do. I'll take just a dark color to show you. Here's a pinwheel. It goes like this. And all the petals are perfectly even. They're all skinny. And then they put a little center in there. Boop, and they say, well, there's my daisy. Well, that doesn't get it, guys. So the stroke can stay right there. Whoop. Let's come on back down. The stroke is if you use the side of your brush, you push down and you pull up. There's the stroke. Even when you see me doing it fast, it's push down and pull up, push down and pull up. So it gets a little wider on the outside. Okay. Let's come up here and let's put the paint where my mouth is. Let's see how that works up here. Let's take our white and a touch of orange. very dry. And I see it kind of overlaps this guy a little, so we'll just let it overlap. Add a little more dimension. Back petals going in. Sometimes they're skinny, sometimes they're a little fatter. Then we go in and we'll pick out a little cat red light, maybe a little touch of orange, and we'll put a little half circle in there. This painting is super to do, you guys, because you can see how easy it is. No medium, so that the paint sticks to the surface. There. Ooh, yeah. Look, now the bottom petals. Notice how I just put the brush down, push down, and pull up, and leave a little gap. Don't fill it in and have everything perfect. Another petal here. Let the pink in, that's fine. Okay, how are we doing? Oh, we want a stem to this fellow. Don't forget, you can't just have your flowers floating around. I think we put some stems in way back when we first started, but they went bye-bye. So there's a stem coming up. You might be the only one that knows that stem is there, but it's there. Okay. What else do we have going on here? Underneath the flower, many times the values get so close together that you need to put a dark. So watch what happens when we come in and put a dark underneath. You see it pop that flower out of there? So just because it went in really fast doesn't mean you cannot go back and add other stuff, add little darks to bring that out. Let's take our little foliage green dark, and we're going to put another dark right in here. See? Little accents. You know the little things mean a lot, guys. It's the little stuff. Check your painting out. Make sure, oh, there I am overlapping. Make sure you have everything in there. We don't want it to look skimpy. Let's take our liner brush down to the old palette. This is the brush with the long hair. Liner, Twiggy, it goes by all kinds of names. I just call it the brush with the long hair. And we're going to come up and let's pick a spot right here. And we're going to put some vines in. Let me do it again, because you might have missed it. We're going to put another vine right here. You come in, see it? And then, if you want, you could even twirl it a little, but don't get too decorative with it. A couple twirls go a long way. But they actually do twirl around like that. Some of them come up here, here. This gives us a lot of kind of an earthy look to your painting. I'm just grabbing more paint. Liner brush, just don't put any pressure on it. And this little stuff's important. And don't go line nutty, where you just have all this line work all over the place. I just put, let's take a little of this color. Come on up here, right down here. You might have missed that. Let's take a little of that in here. See it? You see how that works? And again, don't get line nutty. Let me show you how you can take this little brush and we can come up at a spot way up here and we'll come up and push. Come up and push. And these could be anything. They could be little wild little buds. And again, I go out in my garden. Of course, my wife, Catherine, she's the one that takes care of the garden. Flowers don't even like to see me come out there. I come out into the garden to photograph, and the rose turns around and very quietly says, "I want Catherine." And then another flower hears the other flower says, "I want Catherine." And pretty soon all the roses in the garden are going, "I want Catherine. I want Catherine." And so they kick me out of the garden. So out comes Catherine, and they all go, "Yay!" But I'm so lucky I have Catherine taking care of the flowers out there. because if she didn't, it would be very hard to get a lot of this, because where I live, it snows, and the flowers all go bye-bye, so I have to get out there and take as many photographs as I can so that during the winter months, I have all this reference. Yeah, well, how are we doing? Not too shabby. Maybe we'll take a little of our white paint, and we'll come over here into the corner, and we'll just get a little signature on here, Jenkins. And with that, I will say bye-bye, and don't forget to stop and smell the roses along the way. Take care, and I'll see you next time.
Wilt u leren schilderen, net als Gary Jenkins? Bestel dan nu de schilderset, samengesteld door Gary Jenkins zelf.
I have personally selected the finest paints for this exclusive set.
De allerbeste olieverf, medium, verdunner, kwaliteitskwasten, een instructieboekje en als bonus een prachtige instructie-dvd. Vanaf €149 heeft u deze prachtige set in huis. Bestel nu en ga naar omroepmax.nl.
Actuele onderwerpen, het zijn zinnige onderwerpen waar gewoon een duidelijke behoefte aan is.
Max moet blijven bestaan en ze moeten gewoon een stem hebben in Hilversum.